Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back to the channel. I'm going to talk about SPY and AMC. SPY absolutely ripping into the close here today. Closed at 452.94. Still ripping up in post market. I will say here that you could have the appearance of like a hanging man sort of candle here. But it's the body's not quite as short as I would like up here at the top. So uh, potential continuation. I will say that I did get faked out here. My exit for puts was at 451. I knew that as soon as you broke that 451, you would see further downside. I mean, upside. Sorry. What we saw here, really, and I mean, this did to me begin to look like it was an accumulation, like you were going to have this swing to the upside. Once you broke that 451, to me, this looks like an ascending triangle now in the short term, at least. I do think that you still have, you do have to deal with these sort of wedges that are being formed by the price. And obviously, what you're going to do is you're going to probably come back and retest some of the liquidity here, maybe retest this 450, 451 level. If you fail here, then you could see further downside to like the 445 to 440-ish kind of range. But as of right now, I mean, it looks like a relatively strong move when you base it on volume and everything. So SPY does look relatively strong. You can see you had this big sell candle here at the end on the 5-minute. Let's look at the 1-minute right quick and just see. Oh my goodness. Huge sell candle at the end of the day there, though. Let's go down to the 1 second and just see. Okay. Yeah, I mean, on the 1 second at least, it looks like that volume was overall dominated by bulls, though. So it's gonna be interesting to see. I'm not looking at the order book or anything, but it's gonna be interesting to see what happens going into tomorrow for sure. Just be mindful of like the shorter term kind of wedges that are going to push the price down for retests of liquidity. But I'd say overall that SPY is looking relatively strong, all things considered. Now, I know that they have a meeting tomorrow, so that could be your cause for, maybe you climb up going into overnight futures, and then at open, you could see that retest down here of 451 before you maybe have continuation to the upside. It really all just depends perhaps on what those fundamentals look like. But I'd say overall the volume is favoring bulls at this point on this swing up. So it's gonna be interesting to see. Now with AMC, the story is somewhat the same. Now you had a big pop up here, what I would describe as a sign of strength. So if you're looking at this as a shorter term accumulation that's being performed here, you had a big swing up in pre-market up to $18.83, almost this $19 region. You come back down, and then you retest this 1862, in which you did fail here. But this does look like what you're doing is having this sort of backup phase to retest liquidity. So maybe you would want to come back down to the 1650-ish level, which, I mean, you kind of did, right? So let's see. What is this? 1625. I mean, yeah, you could come back and retest there. Let's see what OBV is telling us on the shorter time frame and see if we're having an increase on the balance sheet. It looks like you really didn't have an increase here. Let's see. Let's do the shorter term range though. So off of this $20, you come down, have somewhat of a sell climax. This was more like a spring look if you want to see a accumulation. I mean, the on balance volume on the 5-minute at least is not very impressive in this range, I will say. And then you do have a general downtrend on the 4-hour chart for on balance volume. I'd say overall, yeah, overall, I mean, it does kind of look distributive down here, more than accumulative when you look at the on balance volume. I mean, you're continuing your downtrend. Even I mean, you're making lower lows here. making lower lows here as you're making higher highs in price. So yeah, that's definitely going to be something to be looking out for. We do still have the macro falling wedge that we've been following. And obviously with that falling wedge, you have the downtrending support here that we've been talking about that was established by these yellow dots back here in June, July, and August. And yeah, I mean this $16 level on the daily is pretty key. You're gonna see a fill of this gap here, I think, especially with all this downward pressure that you had on the day. That daily candle is not the best. I do not like this daily candle. Yeah, because it just looks like bulls just got entirely rejected at this level. What is this level here? 1878. Okay. So 1875, the body of the candle extends down to 1820. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of the result of this price action today. I know you had that really big press up, but you're clearly getting rejected right now. What did we say? Go to just the 1 day price action. Did we say? Yeah, and then you had. Yeah, this is a distribution on the daily. You had a distribution occur for sure. On this 1 day, this is a series of distribution for sure. You pretty much ended up where you started off in pretty much every sense possible. So let's see. I mean, look, I'm not here to pat anybody on the back. I hope that's pretty obvious by now. If you've been watching my channel, I'm not gonna try and sit here and convince you why the stock should be bullish. Yeah, I mean, I think that, well, you've already pressed down here. You're down here to the 1680. So that's not bad. You've already done most of the damage here. You're gonna come down. You're gonna fill here to $16 for sure. So what would be the next plan of action? I mean, the volume is pretty convincing here to the downside, based on that on bounce volume that we were looking at. I'm not very decisive on how far down you'll go. I think you test this $16 region, and when you do that, you want to see what the reaction is. You could have continuation to the upside, and it would look something like this. Let's do our downtrends, short-term downtrend, because you could just be coming back for a retest right now. Also, I don't want to like make people think that I'm just trying to send off panic alarms. Let me let's look at with post market. Yeah, I mean, you could just be coming back for a retest here, actually. Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind this. That's not the worst thing that could happen. From a trend based chart. So you have, oh, my numbers are small. I'm gonna adjust it. We're relatively early in the video, I think, right? Oh, we're 8 minutes in. Damn it. Well, somebody out there will appreciate this. Sorry. I always forget. You know what it is? I change it on my phone. It changes on my computer automatically. So you have pretty obviously your touch here, here, and here on your downtrend. You kind of flirted with it here, but you didn't make it. You eventually broke right through, and you can see, I mean, this was a significant break, right? So when you break out of a downtrend like this, you're naturally gonna want to come back and retest. That's just how it works. Like you don't just break out and then just go up forever. Generally speaking, I mean, I guess you could, but for the most part, you're gonna come back down, retest your downtrend, retest, and now you're getting a little press up here. So it's not the worst thing that can happen. And then you're gonna fill that gap at 16, right? That we talked about. And that might be your final retest. So maybe you do somewhat of a bear crawl where you kind of just crawl down this downtrend until you find that, ooh, yeah, you go left a little bit too, yeah. But yeah, maybe you just crawl down here and then you double bottom and then you have your continuation up. That's what I would visualize from the bullish perspective. That's what I would kind of expect to happen. Let's look at VPVR and see if that validates that thesis. We're gonna have to make it a little bit more precise. The detail. Oh, I think it's this one, right? No, it's not. It's the row size. I always confuse this with VPVR. I literally never get it right the first time. Yeah, I mean, you have a very good volume floor here at this $16. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense actually. Yeah, this move, I actually I don't feel too bad about this move, but you definitely want to see bulls come in at this $16 level for support. Otherwise, you're going to continue to crawl down this bear trend until you see your falling wedge again, and then the falling wedge bottom at this point would be 1440. As you can see, obviously you can press below it. You don't want to create a lower low at $13 at this point, or else you're pretty much going to go down to like 12, that $10 to $12 region, I'd say. Really $12 though, because remember, we've talked about $12 for a while now. You do have a bit of a liquidity gap down here. And Composite Man, dude, he is something else. I'll tell you that. He sure does know how to plan things out. But yeah, so you do, let me take VPVR off now because we don't need it. But yeah, you obviously see, as we've talked about on the channel for a while, that this was kind of like the final region, right? Before you had blast off in June. So this $12 to $14.50 region is super key for AMC, right? And so you could have like a double bottomy kind of, you could come back down, test this 1450-ish region, but if you sink below 1450 again, I'd fully be expecting you to crawl down to $12. Test that bottom. Test that bottom. What? And then obviously that is correlated with the Fibonacci. At this point, I do kind of feel like I'm making the same video over and over again, but I know that people like to follow along with the updates. Oh, this is the wrong Fibonacci. Sorry. Here, the buy button bottom. So you have your golden pocket here, which is $13 to $14.35. And then the 707 down here is $11.34. So perhaps, that correlation could be the next level if you do break below, right? You come down, maybe you tap that 1134 before you break back into this wedge as it stands. I mean, you can see here that you're having pretty good bear traps at the bottom of this wedge as it stands right now. So I don't really mind that overall. You're seeing a good reaction overall from bulls. And I mean, I know that I've talked about this on Twitter before. I'm not sure if I talked about it on the YouTube channel, but what happens is, well, I know that I've talked about how you start to form more and more wedges to the downside as the wedge becomes more intense, right? And so what you'll see is you'll see breakouts of different versions of the wedge, if that makes sense. And as you do these breakouts, you still have to come back and retest the top of the wedges most of the time before you can continue your press up. So let's see if we can develop a new, yeah, and I can already kind of see it. Maybe not. See, we can develop some sort. Yeah, so this would be an example, right? So you see how I have the red line drawn now. This is from this peak. You have touches here, you have a flirt here, and then you kind of got rejected right here, right? So I'm saying all that to say that hopefully this is doing a good job of explaining this. But basically, the way this works, especially in a super macro move like this, is that it does get a little tough, because what you do is, right, you test this resistance, boom, you get rejected down, and then boom, you get your breakout. Now you have to come back and retest this, but then when you retest that, and eventually you could break out of this, you're going to have to retest this, and then that's going to create a new resistance region, right? So it kind of becomes this process until you fully break out of all of the resistances. You're going to keep having these explosive moves up, and then bulls are going to get trapped in the short term before you ultimately break back up again, and then you do the ultimate, right, the final breakout of the more macro wedge, if that makes sense. So that's pretty much what I'm looking for. You really want to see that on balance volume start to swing to the upside. You're definitely not seeing that right now. Let me go look at the daily chart right quick for OBV. I just want to see that. Oop. And then we'll take a final look at SPY and see what she's doing after. I mean, look, this looks pretty good on the daily, right? Oh yeah, you have a good, like, okay, right? This 4.362 billion region right here, you bounced very hard off of this from a volume perspective. That's very strong. I'd expect that after today, you'll probably see this come back down here. You want to see this continue to develop higher lows, okay? Because OBV was like the strongest case for AMC, but you had this, like Tyler talked about, you had this rising wedge kind of form or begin to form. I don't know if it was on the daily. It might have been on the 4 hour actually, because I know that he was following the 4 hour a little bit closer. Yeah. Let's look at that. Oh, that's the 3 hour. And the OBV here at negative 12.25 million. But yeah, so what you did was, obviously OBV was very bullish for a while here. Why is it? Damn. That was very, very high. Holy shit. Um, I'm trying to think of how that rising wedge look. Whatever. Look, just pretend. Look, whatever. You broke down out of it. You come back up. You retest, and now you're getting rejected down on the 4 hour. This is not a good sign. So the 4 hour actually looks bad. The daily looks good. You're definitely going to be looking for support. Yeah, I mean, right here, you're like right on the money. So pretty much, you do want to see upside on the 4 hour chart in the short term on this, because if you continue to break down on these levels, I mean, it's going to be very suggestive that that there is more potential for downside. Like I said, look, you're pretty much in this wedge now, so it does become likely that you will continue to kind of trade in this range in a more and more tightening and boring way. I know that like the past few days it hasn't been nearly as exciting because it's just been very range bound. But when you get to the end of a falling wedge in this manner, it's kind of the nature of the game, right? Price is going to continue to be more and more restricted to these boundaries, more macro trend lines, right? And it's not necessarily that they are. It's like, oh, it's because it's a falling wedge. It's just because these are the key trend lines right now in this trading range. And so bulls and bears are fighting at these levels. And as you get, right, so as bulls press up to this level, bears come in and reject. As bears press down to these levels, bulls come in to protect this level, right? And so that is what creates this falling wedge, and it's just going to cause this tightening and tightening and tightening of price. Let's go check back on SPY, see what SPY is doing. Absolutely still continuing to the upside, up to 454. I'm glad that I got out of the way at 451. And we'll we'll live to see another day on this and see what happens. Obviously volume is just hard to measure. Let's go look at futures maybe, and we'll get a little bit better indication of what the volume actually looks like on S&P. Yeah, this is not impressive here. Holy sh. But again, it's futures, so like most of why this particular thing is important to watch is simply because it's overnight trading, which is lower volume by nature. But yeah, I mean, you're definitely getting a press up here. Let's look at a shorter time frame. Yeah, I mean, this thing, it's just like, it just keeps looking like a wedge to me. But you can see, I mean, look, this was definitely the point, right? It's 45.20 on S&P 500, 451 was the level on SPY. But yeah, you can definitely see that, once you were kind of in this like mode where, okay, and this is where I was starting to shift, is because I was looking at it as like a rising wedge. Let me try and draw it. I was looking at it as an assortment of rising wedges here, maybe. Sorry, I'm just kind of doing this on the fly right now. Yeah, so I mean, this could just be an example, right? You're clearly going into like a rising wedge type of pattern, but then so I was like, okay, well, it has to break down soon. And then once it kind of didn't want to break down out of this, I started to say, okay, well, now what you formed is this kind of uh oh, wrong line. Ascending triangle, and then that's what caused the breakout, right? So that was a misread on my part. But I do still kind of expect you to come back down and retest these regions. This dude, this region right here does not look very supported though. So I will say that's definitely going to be something to look out for. There's not a lot of price action that kind of support this region as it stands. I mean, everything else has a lot of trading done with it, but this is kind of empty. Other than this entry point, but you can't just blast through where your entry came from and then think that. So I do think that this will sort of turn over and start to look more like a distribution where you come back down and you test this sort of region again eventually. But obviously, for the purpose of options, time sensitivity is important. So you got to wait and see. You got to wait for that. Wait for that volume to look a little bit more rug pulley. So that's pretty much what I'm looking at as far as the market goes. Broader market. I mean, but look, going into this week, we were expecting this sort of relief bounce, right? That's what we were talking about overall. If you're looking at the larger picture, like where does this put us, right? Well, the way that I would measure that is I would do a Fibonacci from the top of this move to the bottom here. And people are more familiar with SPY, so let's just do it with SPY. A little bit easier to translate. People trade SPY day to day. Most people don't trade X. So with SPY, I would measure it probably like this here. Yeah, and as you can see, you are approaching this 618 level. Your golden pocket, and then you're gonna see that this is likely a heavily traded zone. Let's just verify that. Yeah. So I would expect. I think that calls do have do. Wait, is that what I'm trying to do? I'm stupid. Yeah, I would expect that calls will continue to print going into this zone probably. And then I would look perhaps for the retracement to begin here. And then obviously the volume is going to kind of tell the story. But you can see, I mean, the volume's already starting to weaken a little bit here as you're climbing higher and higher on the daily chart. So just be on the lookout for that. I mean, this can continue. The price can continue to the upside, and the volume can continue to the downside. So just be wary of that. But I would expect that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. You just blasted right through this. It's so weird. Blasted right through that kind of gap region. It makes me kind of feel funny about this move. I mean, you just absolutely just didn't even pay any mind. It seems like such an important zone. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. I'm always wrong. That's what you guys say in the comments, though. So maybe I'm just wrong. Yeah. But yeah, all right. Well, that's gonna be the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Just a little TA, nothing too crazy going on, right? Um, go back, rewatch the AMC part of the video if that's the important part for you. And really try and take it in from a you know, liquidity standpoint. That's really what you're battling here is these liquidity regions and making sure that big money players. I mean, at the end of the day, big money players are satisfied with the trading that was done in these regions. Because I mean, that's what's controlling the price action right now. That's just a reality for AMC right now. Is you know, price action in these trading regions. Are they satisfied by it? Let's look at VPVR for this. In this perspective, I mean, it doesn't look bad, but yeah, I mean, you know, wait, let me adjust it, make the candles smaller. Yeah, I mean, look, man, yeah, these fuckers, dude, they plan this shit out. They really do, man. They fucking plan it. All right. You know, I don't want to be that guy, but look, you're watching to the end of the video. You probably appreciate my perspective on this sort of thing. This volume gap looks like just the way that they're turning the price around in this fucking way, dude. They're gonna make this thing go to the bitter end, guys. So what does that look like timeline wise? All right. Fucking motherfuckers, dude. These institutions, they have way too much power and control, dude. Yeah, bro. It's gonna take some time, guys. That's my bias. My bias is they're gonna fucking bleed this shit out into March before you see the ultimate breakout of this wedge. That's unfortunate, man. These fuckers, dude. It's so They have too much control, dude. Too much control. When you have liquidity on your side, dude, you can do anything you want in this fucking market, bro. It's frustrating, man. I want to see you guys win, so frustrating for me, but it looks like it wants to do this. It wants to go to this 11 to 1250 region, man. Yeah, I mean, look, you know, you did kind of just fucking gap through it way back here, man. Dude, this is so sick, bro. It is sick. It is honestly sick how they do this, man. It really is. Yep. Yeah, man. You're going back there. Fuck, man. I don't care about like my personal position. I'm just saying like it's just like retail can't win, man. These fuckers, dude. I mean retail will win. I'm not saying that they won't, but I'm saying retail will win eventually, but it's just like for the time being, these fuckers, man. They fuck with you, dude. Yeah, dude. There's just not enough. There's not enough. They're gonna fucking come back down here. Look, what I'll tell you is, if you hold this 1350 big wee wee, this is what I'll say. If you hold above this big wee wee VPVR candle right here, this like $14, $13.50 to $14 kind of level. If you hold above here, you can see that big press up. But if you do not hold above this $13.50 to $14 region, then you will fully go to like probably $11, man. Because of VPVR, dude. They will fill big gaps like this. If they, you know, if you break these big regions, if you break this big fucking VPVR region right here, they will come down and test the more empty ones. And I'm speculating here, and I'm not trying to say anyone is committing a crime or anything. So don't say that I'm like doing anything like that, but I am speculating that it is pre-planned. when they do these things. So, like all the way back here, they already knew that they were going to do all of this, everything that has happened since then. So. That's a sad note to end the video on. Hey, if you don't already, make sure you follow me on Twitter. My Discord link is in the description down below. It's completely free to join. I don't have any paid version of the Discord. You can support me on Patreon, but I'm not really doing anything on there right now because I haven't had a lot of interest, which is understandable. Yeah, I mean, my main focus right now is delivering value for retail. So that's what I'm going to continue to keep trying to do, keep analyzing the charts. And come to these new conclusions. And if I'm wrong, I don't really care. It's not about me being wrong or right. It's about me showing methodology that helps somebody become better within the market. So that's what I'm really focused on. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. And until next time, I do like this breakout here. Okay, you could be retesting it and you could retest the top, but then I would probably get dragged down. Till next time. Peace. What's in your head? In your head, zombie, zombie, zombie. Dude, you know what song I listened to yesterday? When I was cleaning up around the house a little bit after my son. And Sweet Dreams. Sweet dreams are made of this, and that instrumental, dum 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 dum. Whoo, dude, that song is crazy. That is a crazy song. Ouch. All right. Y'all have a good one.